Hey guys, how are you today? We have a lot to talk about this episode. Not just in this episode, but all of the things that are getting released. Man, it's just mind blowing. Well, let's get into it. So, this episode, we have it's episode 7, uh, chapter 15 or 16. Guys, you already know. By this time of the day, my brain's fried. So hopefully we can get a better time to start streaming soon. So then I can be better prepared. I'm so sorry, guys. 1 second. So then I can be better prepared. So I know you guys just heard me. Anyways, we're at chapter 15, and the episode is titled The Believer. Now, this could be many different things. Hi. Hi, Gina. Thank you for saying so. Oh, I know. I'm prepared, but I'm not prepared. The life of a mom. So I'm sorry. Before we get into this, I'm sorry that I'm late. Willow, I needed to get something for Willow before we started streaming. So, life of a mom. So 4-year-olds come first. But anyways, so we're at chapter 15. The episode is titled The Believer. Willow's first thoughts, she says, I love the Mandalorian. And she says, my favorite character is Boba because I love his armor, which he fixed, Mom. He fixed it. It looks so good. And she says, his ship is pretty great. He's my favorite. And then she starts talking about Anakin and how he's Darth Vader, and I kind of lost track from there. So I just like to give you guys some opening thoughts from the 4-year-old because Star Wars is her thing, man. Like, if there's been one connective tissue through her whole life, it's been Star Wars. So I like to get her little crazy 4-year-old point of view for the beginning. So when we open up, we have the shipyards. And we see the patrol droid, and he actually is the same droid that was present in the episode where Mayfield debuts. So when they go to that prison and they're trying to break out who they're breaking out, they encounter these droids. So I thought it was really cool to connect both of them. And then we see Kara. So the droid's telling Mayfield to stand to attention for her, and so she just comes out and says, "I'm putting him in my charge, and he's going to be in my service for right now." And sorry, guys, my back. Anyway, so she gets him in his service, and she takes over. Then we see them walk towards the Slave One ship, and then the back hatch is open, and he looks up and is a little startled, but then kind of laughs it off, and he goes, you kind of reminded me of someone else, which I think this line is really funny considering who Boba is, right? So his father was the Django, obviously, but he was the basis for all the clones, right? So it was really funny to see that comment at first, to see him be like, oh, you reminded me of someone else I know, and then not even missing a beat, down comes Mando, and then you just see his heart stop. How much she gets about Star Wars. Yes, Gina. So this is actually a really cool comment because later on, when we start talking about the new things released, so with Bad Batch, there's a certain familiar character, and Little Miss Willow caught it before even I did, and now the internet's blowing up about it. So it's pretty cool, and we'll talk about that towards the end. She really does understand a lot more than people will give her credit for, and she really can spot them faces and characters. It's pretty crazy. She gets it from me, but I digress. So then now we get to see the interior of Slave One. So previously we've only seen this a little bit because when Obi-Wan and is pursuing Jango, he's pursuing the slave one, so he can find out who Jango's working for, and everything there. So me personally, I never really understood the mechanics of the ship, in the sense that my brain is dyslexic. So I know that it rotates, it rotates down when it's parked, and then it rotates back up when it goes to fly off. And so I was a little not confused, but my brain was like, how do these mechanics work? It's just not clicking for me right now. And so this episode was really awesome for me to see them in the ship and the rotation of it all. So the I'll say hangar part where they're all sitting and everything is still, and everything else shifts above it. And I thought that was really cool to watch. The technical geek in me was just like really cool and really jazzed to see that. And then from there, let's see. From there, we see Mando ask Mayfield about, his Imperial past and how he's going to be able to get the coordinates for Moff Gideon. And here's when Mayfield lets them know, we have to go to a base. I won't be able to just get them. We have to go there. We have to find a terminal, and that's how we'll get the information. And he says that it's at Morak, I'm sorry. And Mando quickly says, Morak, there's nothing on Morak. Which then he Mayfield lets him know, yes, there actually is. There's been a hidden base there for a long time, and it does mining, and we can get our information there. Them seemingly think it's not going to be too difficult because it's undercover base. There might not be too much action there. So let's get in, get out. Let's get to our mission, right? Well, so then he tells Boba, let's go to Morak. And from there, we see them start to plan out the mission, right? Let's see. And so here is where we see that, or Boba points out what's going on the base. So he knows, or he says, is this what you were talking of? They show the mining base. Mayfield confirms, and then they go from there. When they're talking about the stats, though, we see this look exchange between Fennec and Boba when he's saying, we'll have to go in quietly, and they just look at each other like they know something. And I'm wondering if that's planting some seeds of doubt. I really think that there might be something else going on there. I think that's a total setup for this next episode. Yeah, I get those vibes, man. And I feel like it's going to break our hearts because we get to see cool Boba. But at the end of the day, as he lets everyone know at first, when he's first signing up with Mando, that his allegiance is to no one. Though he gave his word that he would help him get to the child, that doesn't mean that he has his allegiance. So I find that quite interesting, playing off from there. So anyway, just a second. I'm trying to find something for you guys. Oh man, scatter. Okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, which is no big deal. I think we do pretty good without pictures for our live streams. I think Hey, Otila Angel, how are you? How did you like this episode? I love nerding out with you. It's so much fun. Gina, yes, I have my suspicions. And Josh from um, Nerd Theory also agrees, and it's really fun to watch his live streams and then him try to convince. So he does a live stream with Star Wars Theory called Nerd Theory, and watching him yesterday try to convince Theory that Mando is force sensitive was like the funniest thing, because Theory, you could tell Theory's like, I don't know, I don't think I buy into that, I don't think I want to buy into that. And then you have Josh who's like, it's happening. I'm kind of leaning on maybe it's a possibility. I'm not putting too much into it, but it would be really cool. I think that they've laid the seeds for the possibility of that since season 1. And I think it could really reinforce that bond that he immediately gets with Grogu, not just because he's a foundling, not just because he needs to help this child, you know, all the normal things, but also maybe the Force. So yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there. So Tila, I love this season and I'm already thirsty for the next season. Such a great episode. I'm totally on board with you there. I really am kind of sad that it's coming to an end, but I'm super excited for what the future holds, because this season has just had so many great additions and so many great world building episodes. It's just been great and I'm super excited. I love nerding with you too. Oh, thanks. I figured everyone would say I was nuts. I think the test was for Mando, not the child. That is a super great observation, Gina. I'm like super proud of you, because I know that Star Wars isn't necessarily your thing, but you love your Ewoks, and I love that you're watching Mandalorian, and I completely agree with this. If Mando is force sensitive and we go further, I think I agree with you that yes, Grogu was to be on the rock, was to communicate with the Jedi, but I think what Mando's response to getting him back was a huge deal. And I really think that, to play off of that, I think that could be maybe Ahsoka's test, because she tells him that he won't train, or that she won't train Grogu because of their bond, and she gets really nervous because it reminds her of Anakin. And I really do agree with you here that that could show her the difference, because if you guys think back too, for those who've watched Rebels, Ezra becomes really bonded to Kanan and vice versa, and Hera gets really bonded to him as well, but they still have a really great relationship, no matter, even with the connection there, and with the kind of devotion that's there. And Ahsoka got to see the good side of that, so I think that will help. Though I think her initially just assuming, or not assuming, but reacting towards her mentor could have been the fact of Grogu and his species reminding her of Yoda, and then just really bringing her back to the Clone Wars and the fall of Anakin. So there's a big expanded theory onto that. I think because I'm not as diehard invested, I can be more observant. Good point. Good point. I love Grogu to Ewok level. That's saying a lot. I want him to go live with them and say the heck with human drama, or to go live with them. Yeah, that would be maybe, because we don't get to see him in the sequel series, so there's a lot to be predetermined, right? This path could lead us to the gray Jedi on screen. Maybe Grogu has light and dark. So I'm not sure if they're going to for sure put gray Jedi in canon. But if you look back to Rebels again and see how Kanan lives, and then virtually on how Ezra ends up living, they tend to favor more of a gray Jedi standpoint, and especially Ezra, because he's very similar to how Anakin was, where he has a huge pull to the light side, but he also equivalently has a pull to the dark side, which is why Maul was so not enthralled, but he was very much interested in Ezra and very observant in wanting to know where this could go, right? So yeah, I think that could definitely lead into there. Hi, Broken Birds. I'm sorry if I woke you up or made you busy, but I missed your face, so I had to make sure that you came to the screen. I almost completely missed it. Slammed at work and still have to go to Walmart to finish my Secret Santa. Well, thank you for stopping in. If you can't stay, I won't hold it to you. I just wanted to make sure we could say hi. I totally understand on the slam front end, and I'm here for you later if you need to talk. Anywho, enough of that. So yeah, I really do like where you're going and where your head's at there, Gina. You had me skip ahead to quite a lot. So yeah, that look that Fennec and Boba give each other is quite interesting. Let's see, where are we? Okay, so here we figure out that afterwards, so they get on the planet and they're talking about who gets to basically do this mission, right? Who's going to drive, excuse me, and oh my gosh, the name is escaping me. It's the tank-like vehicle that they have to go into. So we're in there, or we're getting ready to that point to see who's going to take it on, and we shortly discover that Fennec can't go because she's wanted. Gina, you're in the chat, and I think of her real name. Kara can't go because she's a marshal for the Resistant. Well, they're not the Resistance yet, but anyways, she's the marshal for the opposite side, the opposing side. So she can't go. And the best line, I think, of this whole episode, Boba says, let's just say they'll know my face. Again, connecting to, like I mentioned at the beginning, it's connecting him to his father, Jango, and the clones, because the clones were so throughout the galaxy that his face will be known. So we figure out that it's going to have to be Mayfield and it's going to have to be Mando. But Mando says, don't worry, they won't see my face, because he sees down that they're in uniforms with helmets. So he technically can get by this rule and kind of bend it a little bit to get what he needs to for Grogu. So I think it's very interesting here. The episode is called The Believer, and here we see Mando bending his rules, what he believes in, his creed, which at the beginning of season 1, all throughout into even season 2, even really in this season, we see that his beliefs are almost everything to him. But they get challenged this season because he gets to meet Bo-Katan, who's like, oh man, you're part of the Watch. And they're not necessarily real Mandalorians. And then when he first meets Boba, same thing, he's very stand backish, right? And so he's getting confronted with his beliefs. And this to me is awesome, because Star Wars is all about humanity at its core, right? Light versus dark, growth, parent bonds, all these things. So it's really cool that we get to see him confronting those beliefs, because that's such a big part of being a human and going into adulthood or anything. You're constantly throughout the years confronting your beliefs, challenging them, and either sticking with them or forming new ones. And here I think he's going to end up forming new ones. And I think he's going to end up maybe at a bridge between what the Watch taught him as a foundling, right? And as the real Mandalorians believe currently anyway. Phil H. Hi, Phil H. I do want to give a shout out to Phil H. He just joined my Patreon, and thank you so much. It's going to help a lot. So that brings me to, I believe, 4 Patreons now. So Broken Birds in the chat is one of my Patreons. Now Phil H. Carrie Harrison's also one of my Patreons. I'm so sorry, I will mess it up, but her name is Tinkerbell on here. She's also one of my Patreons, and Carolyn, whenever she comes in, she's also one of my Patreons, so maybe that's 5. But thank you guys so much. It will really help. I know right now I'm pretty much just live streams, but the Patreon is going to help me be able to focus on creating real content for you guys, in the sense of edited videos, which I'm going to try to film my first one this coming week. I want to, I was going to do a theory video for Anakin. That's still on the slate, but depending on how this last episode goes and what information we get, I might sideline that. But for sure, I want to do a wrap up of this season, my closing thoughts, and projected for what's going to happen for season 3. And then I want to do a couple videos on a couple of what I think some of the episodes are going to, or what some of the series that were announced are going to do. Let's see what chat says. Dad better get his baby back or we riot. I don't think he's going to get his baby back this season, to be honest. I think that is going to be something that we see next season. I think it's going to be the bigger plot of next season. Well, he'll put up a hell of a fight in this episode, but I don't think we're going to get that closure. I'm just watching. So there was an interview done about 2 hours ago on the Star Wars show, and Dave Filoni got to get interviewed. And right before that, they had an Empire Strikes Back 40th reunion, which woo, that's my favorite episode. And it's my favorite Star Wars one is Empire Strikes Back. Anyways, oh, man, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So they were talking about how that episode really gets dark and gritty, and it really, shows that human level. And that made me reflect on The Mandalorian and its seasons. So season 1 was very much like A New Hope, right? We're establishing the verse, we're establishing what's going on. And now in this season, we're really confronting some of that darkness. We're leading into it. So I think, if there's 5 seasons, right, I think this is the transition into that dark and gritty that we're going to get. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see. To be fair, I'd walk into Walmart naked if it meant I got a real life Grogu. Oh, Gina. Broken Birds. Oh, I loved the end of the episode with Manda being like, "Mofo, I'm coming for you. I want my baby back." Yes. I will touch on that because that's very important, actually, that sequence. The quality of this live is really good. Thank you. That means a lot. I'm trying. Willow's being really good and quiet in the back. My neighbors aren't being crazy, so I don't think I'm projecting my voice too loud. I know I can get pretty loud, so we'll see there. Also, Ellie Makes Stuff. Become a Patreon if you... Oh, thanks, Amanda. I'm sure it will be a cliffhanger, no closure. It's all right, Amanda. I figured you'd have to take off. So thank you for putting my link in the chat like a good mod. And we will see you next time. Yeah, you rock, Ellen. You guys. Seriously, though, that's like I love being able to connect with you guys and get to talk about all of this stuff. If I could make this my job, not to get paid, but so I could dedicate all of my time to this, trust me, in a heartbeat. Literally in a heartbeat, I would do it. So we'll get there eventually, right? Everyone has to start somewhere. So if I have to start with these lives and getting there, I'll definitely do that. Also for the holiday season, since we're still on the topic of my Patreon and you guys, my community, for the holiday seasons, for my Patreons, I'm going to be making you guys a little gift and sending them to you. So, excuse me. So now's the time to get a free little goodie from me. Not necessarily nerdy per se, but it's something that I like to make every year for people I love and haven't done stuff for. So if you sign up, then I'll get to send you something. So that really helps. The sound is great, looks amazing. The pace is really good. Literally a great live. That means a lot from you, Gina, because you got to be on some really awesome live streams that are very memorable. So you would know. So thank you. That's an awesome compliment, and I really, really I don't take it lightly. It's in there. All right. So from there, oh man. Genetic signature. Okay, so we know that Mando is going to have to go with him. So they take the they take the tank basically, and Kara gets in, takes names, takes them out super easy and efficiently. Which I have to say, the use that they do for Gina Carano's talents, and they just let her shine, is awesome. You know, people that don't necessarily know her background might not necessarily understand, and think that, oh, well, they're just doing it because she's a woman and she's strong and whatever, but they're not. They're playing to her strengths. And I love that they're letting her shine. And honestly, that's all I ever wanted as a young little girl. I got Leia. I did get my Leia, and I slowly started getting some of my female powerhouses. Tomb Raider got really big. That was one of my huge things. And it's really cool that Willow gets to have people like Fennec Shan and Cara Dune and Bo-Katan and now Ahsoka. She gets to have those idols. She gets to see women thrive naturally without forcing it. And it's very authentic. And I'm so glad she gets to see that. And I'm so glad that I get to be a part of that. As well. But anyway, so she gets it all ready for them. They get their uniforms, and in true Bill Burr fashion, he has to make a comment about the previous owner of this uniform, and how it stinks and all this stuff. And then you see Mando come out in the uniform, and he kind of busts his balls a little bit. He busts his chops and that's the start of him poking at Mando's beliefs here, right? So, this episode being The Believer, we get to see quite a lot of that, right? So, we see Mando hand Cara his armor, which I think is a huge sign and something that we'll connect to later in like another series. I think the Rangers series will probably be Kara's series that was rumored. It is supposed to be tied to the Mandalorian, so I think that's going to be hers. But I think that's going to be important later. He doesn't trust. He trusts people, but not on that level. That's his armor. That's literally more than his life. That's his creed. That's his people, and he's trusting her with it. I think that's really cool. And then we get Bill Burr really, really busting his chops through this whole drive, right? So he's kind of just talking to him about, I said it this way. It's really cool how I said it. So before attack, Mando really connects with the people, and it reminds him of his childhood during this. And, Bill Burr's Mayfield says, invaders on their land, that's all we are. And that really hits home, right? Because it's true. No matter where they go, whether you're Jedi, you're Mandalorian, you're Imperial, you're on someone else's land. And though your beliefs might be strong for you, that doesn't equate to necessarily the culture and the world already established on this planet, right? They could think totally different things, but because you have something that they need or that they want, they're going to, be there. So yes, the Jedi was a little bit better that unless you were in need, they wouldn't necessarily be there. They're still there, right? And with their presence, you get the threat of the Empire because they want to, not overtly, but they do want to take out the Jedi, right? And we get to see this in Clone Wars. We see this in Rebels, especially. because that's the whole point of them taking back Lothal, right? They're under Imperial rule, and their mission is to get it back. Not at first, Hera really tries to dissuade Ezra from going down this path, right? So, but they end up doing it. So it's a really true Star Wars thing, right? It basically also states that initially when you're born, that can determine your loyalty, right? Because it's whatever you grow up on, which we see with Mando, right? With his creed. We see him believe that Mandalorians are supposed to be this one specific way because that's how he was raised. And then with the enlightenment that he's receiving from other parts of his culture, his world is expanding, right? So I think it's a really cool point. I love that for Willow. I wish we had more of that when we were littles. I agree, but we still have the future, right? We're not ever too young to have a role model. The whole generation is just gonna rock. Yeah, great point. Cultural perspective is so important. Yes, I really agree. You're going into somebody else's territory, someone else's, it's like just a home, right? Just let's do it on a super small level. Going into someone's home, right? It's not yours, it's theirs. It's literally them, right? And you're going into that place. So you should respect it, right? Because if someone was coming into your home, you would want them to respect it as well. You wouldn't want them to try to take over immediately and judge you for how you run your home, right? So in cultures from the dawn of forever, right, we see that guest right and hosting is very sacred to everyone, right? So it's really interesting to see how things like Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel tackle these things, right? Because these are very basic, primal issues, right? That we here, especially in the US, we're always constantly going through this, right? So it's really cool, and I'm glad that they're showing that, because you get to have these really cool lessons without them like really jamming it down your throat, right? So we get to grow together without feeling like we're getting slammed on the head with some of these messages, which I think, a balance is key, right? That's what Star Wars teaches us, right? There's always a light with dark. You can't have too many of one. It has to be equal, right? Oh, hi, sister. So, Darian Vigil, love you. Keep it up. Thank you. Very cool to have my own sister drop in, who also loves Star Wars, which, by the way, Mando is like her man. Like, she has been fighting for the respect of Boba Fett for as long as I can remember. And I'm the older one. So, these last few episodes really, really have been like, I really can't wait. Her and I live in different states. I'm in Colorado and she's in Arizona, and she works just as much as I do. So it will be really fun to get to talk about this whole series with her in April when I get to go back home, we'll say, when I get to go there and see it. Balance said the Libra. Funny you should say that. My sister is also Libra, so the one we are talking about here. But anywho, so I also put a link for this. I linked it to Rebels. So initially, when we meet Agent Callus in Rebels, he's like super diehard for the Empire, right? He was a very strong cadet, and then he was a very strong soldier. Sorry, he thought he made the the Lasat people extinct. He thought he took them all out but one, which was Zeb. He thought he was the remaining survivor, and he felt guilty inside, but for a long time he wore that as a badge of honor because that's the only way he could deal with it. And slowly we see the layers getting peeled back by every encounter that he gets with the Ghost team, right? And we get to see him slowly change his opinion and really get to be enlightened on what's going on, right? And then he ends up joining. So I really like to see how they connected that with Mayfield. And then after that, the pirates start attacking. And I said Bill Burr's classic panic. So I'm a very big fan of Bill Burr's. He's one of my favorite comedians ever. And he is known for his like manic behavior, his panic, and his not aggression, but he's from Boston and they don't pull punches. They really fully swing. So it was really cool to see some of that. Jon Favreau and all of the creative team really let him shine, and I love that because classically Bill Burr, if you know anything about him, he's not really into Star Wars. He respects it, he's watched it, he understands a little bit, but it's not necessarily his cup of tea. And I love that they still let him be a part of it, and they let him bring what is him to the character, and it helps really enrich that world, right? Because now we're getting into a part of our culture that there's hardly any non-Star Wars fans or people that really don't love it, right? And so it's really cool to have those few people within, make it shine. So one of the cool things I thought about this whole scene and sequence was classically stormtroopers or any of soldiers of the Empire have terrible shots. They don't necessarily hold their ground very well. We all comedically spoof this, right? But then you have Mando in this armor, and he's just keeping up. You really get to see what he can do, and you really get to see all of his skills here, right? Without his armor, which is important, right? So it's a really funny nod. And for that reason, I wore my stormtrooper shirt eating popcorn. I thought it was like almost a meme for this episode, right? Like mind blown. Oh my gosh, someone in the Imperial Army can actually defend and take names, only to find out he's not really Imperial. Oh, toss the popcorn. Thank you, Otila. This shirt's like, I don't know, almost 7 years old. My mom got it at Ross for my husband, and well, we've grown. So it's mine now. My sister, dude, that shirt, for real. Star Wars presented as a Western has really added a new group to the fan base for sure. So this comment, I think, from you, Otila, is very interesting because originally that's how Star Wars was kind of presented, right? It was like a space Western is literally what they called it, with a lot of the Japanese influences, samurai films, into it, right? So it's really cool that we are getting back to the Star Wars roots, which I have to give so much credit for Dave and John. And I know I've said it before, but I will keep saying it, right? That this series is not only so successful because of the love of Star Wars, but because they are not trying to mimic anything in the past. They're just respectfully trying to honor it, in the sense that, and we get to see this in the gallery series, they go back to the original inspiration, right? So they're tapping into those Westerns and those samurai films and the original adventure films, right, from the early 60s and 70s. So they're really getting into what inspired George and going from there, instead of being inspired from what George, solely being inspired by what George had before, right? So it's this really good culmination of all of it without just trying to copy. It's not like they found an algorithm and they're going to stick to it because they know it's going to get views, even though people might not connect with it. Instead, they're really taking the core of it all, and they're going from there. So Thanks for letting me get to that point, Otila. So here, we just really get to see some cool stuff. So like the blaster loses its ammo, which is a great nod for us fans that play any of the games. You have to reload, right? And that's been a huge debate in Star Wars for a long time because we never really get to see them reload, but we know that there's ammunition hubs in all of them, right? So it was really funny to see, it run out and then he throws the gun. That's become such a classic thing. And I love it. I love stuff like that. Like, oh, I run out. Well, here, maybe it'll still work for that. Maybe I can take someone out or at least stun them long enough for me to get to punches, right? Oh, I didn't know that. I was raised just to think of it as sci-fi. It's really cool when you get to really dig into the different things. It was hilarious. Pew pew. Yes. So, just kind of going over my notes, seeing where we are. So this fight ends up with the I said X-Wings and that's not what they are. Oh my God. I hate myself right now because I can't think of the ships. The Empire saves the day, which is such a huge shift, right? So I think with this episode, we're challenging beliefs, right? So all of us are always, the Empire's bad, the Empire's bad, it can't do anything good, right? But in this instance, they saved the day, right? If it wasn't for them, the pirates probably would have blown up Mayfield and Mando, and we wouldn't get the rest of it, right? So it's really cool to see them for once have a great moment, right? Squishy face. Right. I make all the faces. But yeah, so it's really cool to see. Even the music changed, right? They got to have their hero moment. So then we see them dock, if you will. They enter the shipyard and they're celebrated like heroes because come to find out, they're the only shipment that made it that day. I wonder why. Because Mando can actually hit a shot, right? So that was cool. And then we get then from here, it picks up and we get to see Mando and Mayfield head for the terminal, right? And we think it's all good. We think Bill Burr's going to get it. Good luck. You got this. And then Mayfield runs into his old commanding officer. Man. So he comes back out. He's nervous. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He says he can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't. We can't go on. She's so good, knowledgeable, but also real life. Thank you, Gina. TIE Fighters was the ship I was trying to think of. So thank you for that comment. You made me think of it. They're TIE Fighters. Because they look like ties, like bow ties. Anywho, so yeah, we are like, what are we gonna do, right? And then Mando makes the ultimate sacrifice, right? I'll do it. Wow. Like, let's just take a moment for that, like, sacrifice, right? It was one thing for him to willingly take it off for the droid so he could help him. The droid's not a human. But he's about to take his helmet off in front of at least 5 people because it's a lunchroom, right? And it's a mess hall. And he's going to make the ultimate sacrifice, right? This truly shows what Grogu means to him, that the child is his child, right? It in the heart, and that's all that matters, right? Your connection and your bond with somebody is here and here. It's not always your blood, right? So I thought that was really cool. So that's the moment, right? So he goes in, he still tries to scan his face with the helmet on. I don't know why he thought that was gonna work. But got something in the eye at that moment, yeah. But yeah, so he goes in, he tries to scan the helmet, and then he takes the helmet off. And you can see it in his face. He's like panicking, like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? What have I done? What have I done? But he still goes through with it and he gets the information he needs. But his face is new. And the commanding officer notices this because he also noticed that he tried to scan his helmet. So he knows something's off, right? But we have the data. And so quickly, Bill Burr comes in to save the day. Brown Eyes is born. And can we just talk about, because I know I got my Game of Thrones homies in here, can we just talk about that imagery that we got when he starts talking about brown eyes? Can we? I'll get closer. My God. PTSD. Like, really? Brown eyes. Did anybody else flash to those said brown eyes and skulls popping? I did. Shamelessly, I did. Anyways, I digress. So it's really cool that he used the, oh well, he lost his hearing, he can't hear you, so here's some brown eyes, which was a really good smooth save on Mayfield's part, right? So he goes in, they think they're done, and the commander says, you're not dismissed, and then you're like, oh no, they're caught, oh no. And come to find out he wants to buy them drinks. So they go back and they start hashing it out, right? But we get a cutscene of our girls, Fennec and Kara, holding it down, getting, dividing and conquering, right? One's going to go after the cannons in the front, and the other one's just going to take out the troopers. And they wonder what's taking so long. So they come back to find the lieutenant just really hashing it out, right? And Mayfield brings up his old assignment that the guy was the commander for, right? And this is a really cool nod to Battlefront. I think it's Battlefront 2 or Battle 1 or 2. I apologize, I did not play these. I really would like to. But anyways, so we get this really cool callback. What basically had happened was it was Palpatine's fallback plan, right? So if Palpatine was to die, this order was to be taken out. And basically what that order did was they were these little mini like storm engineers. So it took the natural environments capabilities. Basically it mimics the storm patterns, but severely intensifies it, and basically takes the planet out with itself. And so this was where probably Mayfield left the Empire, because this was almost like in the sequels where Starkiller Base was like, it was ridiculous. It took out planets, right? That's basically what this happened, right? And so you just see Mayfield starting to slip, and he's getting angry, and he's like checking him, right? But this whole time, we're hearing the captain talk about the Empire and how great it is and how much he believes in it. And I think this is where we get the most obvious representation of what the episode is titled, The Believer, because he is truly almost a zealot, right, at this point. And you could tell that mission, that order, did not necessarily sit well with him. But he, like Captain Callus, is wearing it as a badge of honor instead of holding him down, because that's just how to survive in the Empire, right? Though it might be, as a human, some of the worst things you could do as a soldier, commander, lieutenant in the Empire, right? It's one of the best things you can do. That's bravery. Everyone's heroes, even if you die, right? It gets crazy. Let's see what y'all are talking about. I may have gotten misty-eyed. That was so totally obvious. Yes. The retelling of that story and all the lives lost have weight to the character's experience. Exactly. And this is where we get to see Mayfield show what he believed in crumble, right? We get to see his PTSD with losing everything, literally everything, which also, side note, so did Kara, right? Because Alderaan is gone. we'll come back to that. Little Bear just yelled, "Y'all saw under Mando's mask?" Oh, she missed the last one and is ready to watch now. I'm sorry, Little Bear. I didn't mean to spoil anything for you. But yes, it's worth it. I can't wait to hear from your mom what your reaction to the whole episode is. Gina, Little Bear, so cute. Yes, I love Little Bear so much. I can't say as much as Willow because, I'm biased, but I feel like we have two of the cutest kids in the fandoms. I'm just saying. Yeah. I have an Ahsoka. You have a Little Bear. It's great. But anywho, yeah, so showing that PTSD is not always successful, but I think they were successful here because you see Bill Burr as Mayfield just gets angrier and angrier as the commander's talking, and all of a sudden his arm comes up and he shoots him, and you can see he looked down and did not realize he shot him, right? And this is documented in real life so much, right? Sometimes PTSD or high stress levels makes you do things that you don't even realize you're doing, right? That's the whole part of mental health that can be so crazy, is you don't even realize some of the things that you do. And I think that they captured that really well. And while we're talking about great performances, can we give Pedro Pascal like all the awards for really making us feel like he lived under a mask forever? Like the social ineptness that he shows, he's very socially awkward, he's very withdrawn. If you're talking, he completely looks at you. He gives you his full attention. And then when he's uncomfortable, he looks down, right? He's very shy. And I'm just so with it for that whole performance. He did great. I think personally, Bill Burr carried the whole episode, but Pedro Pascal shined. So it was pretty awesome. Let's see, turning the page of my notes. Let's see. All right, PTSD, just didn't realize. From here on out, they're escaping the facility, and I think here Fennec and Kara shine. Like they're just taking people out. You get to see their shot capabilities. They're working well together, which is awesome to see. You get to just see some really great things. And before we go too far onto the ending, also one of the best parts of that scene with Bill Burr and Pedro Pascal was Mayfield telling him, "I didn't see anything. I didn't see your face. You did what you had to do." And he hands him the helmet back, basically saying, I'm not going to open my mouth. Like, this is not, I don't know I won't know. I'll deny it. I'll deny it. You did what you had to do, which I think was an extremely respectable thing here. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to say that. He could have let Mando stew in his decisions and how he felt. And I think Mayfield saying what he said really helped elevate that mood, right? I don't have a little of my own, but I work with kids and I've known thousands. You two are extra awesome. Oh, Tella, that means a lot. Yes, and Hot Girl Squad. So also, I won't lie, I was like, for all that awkward, inept, social everything that Pedro was throwing. I think Amanda said in our group, Broken Burns, she's like, he's not even my type, and I was swooning. It says a lot. Anywho, so we get to see our girls shine, right? And again, it's not beating us over the head. It's just them being them. And it's really cool to see them taking out everyone, right? They're being true scouts and true sharpshooters for them as they're escaping. And then we get Boba coming to rescue them and jump on the ship. And then they fly off. We get another explosive charge, which is awesome. And then as they're flying away, Mayfield asks for the rifle, shoots the tanks, right, and blows everything up, and says, "We all need to sleep at night." And I think that really just sums up his character, right? He's he's been through it, he's seen things, he's had his whole world change, and he's moved forward from it to be better. Whether that's the same definition for you or not, it doesn't matter. For him, it's better. You know, he could be a bounty hunter later. He could be just a bad outlaw, but anything is better than what the Empire made him do, right? And I think that is a huge thing for us to look at for the future, just as people. Not because it's going to hint at other things in the series or whatever, but just as people, you know, we're all going to have different definitions of what better, good, bad, or evil, all of that, unjust, just, right, wrong. We all have different versions of that. But for the most part, you know, there's a big gray area that we all pretty much agree on. And I think that this episode really shows that. And then we get to the good stuff, right? So leading to that said good stuff, Kara and Manda decide to let Mayfield go. They say that he why can't I think what I'm trying to say? He didn't survive the bombing of the base. So that's what they're going to write it up as, and they let him go. And I think this really sets it up for that Rogues, the new not Rogue Squadron, that's a different series. And I said it before in here. It's so late for my brain. The Cara Dune series, I think it's that they might end up tagging up together, and I think that their relationship's going to go pretty far there. Not that they're going to get together, but they're going to work together. We've established that they can work together, that they can get along. So if Bill Burr ends up agreeing to it, he could just be in another series and become Star Wars. And then all of the juice, the tea, whatever you want to call it, the meat, the potatoes of this whole episode, we get Mando's declaration to Moff Gideon. So I want to preface this, that in the recap of the episode, we are seeing Moff through Hollow. We see him tell Mando almost word for word what Mando's about to tell him back. Basically, you know, you don't know what you have. The child is way more than you think it is, and he means more to me than you'll ever understand. Basically, in so many words, that's what he says, right? Pan to the end of this episode, and Mando drops the gauntlet. He says the same thing back, and Moff looks shook. Like, truly, we have not seen him be rattled, and this rattles him. Because not only is Mando laying down the gauntlet, like, I'm coming for you, but he's also saying, bro, I know where you're at. I know where you are and where you're going to be, and I'm coming. And I'm just like, so excited. So that leaves off my notes for the whole episode. So now we can start talking about how we felt about it, what we think is going to happen, and all of that jazz. I know we're an hour into this live stream, but y'all know once you get me started talking, as long as you're here for it, I'll be here for it, right? So yeah, I love that gauntlet being thrown. Ming-Na Wen posted on Instagram about this character Mean Surge. She said it's her childhood imaginations and dreams fulfilled. I love that for her. So can we just give her credit, because the beginning, or through the between season 1 and season 2, and also through the first few episodes, she was tweeting and Instagramming, bring back Fennec, save my character, I want to come back. The whole time she knew she would be back. Like, how awesome is that? She is probably like the most legend of actors doing things secretively. Like, she made everyone think that we weren't ever going to get her back, that we should put this in their minds, and she knew she was coming back. Like, oh my God. Like, being a Doctor Who fan and being, you know, Marvel back in the day, they are so secretive, and you can't talk about anything, especially Star Wars, right? Star Wars and Doctor Who are like two of the most secretive productions. It's so hard sometimes without data leaks, like in general, just on a normal day to day, it is so hard to figure out what's going on sometimes. And to get things out, like Daisy Ridley was awesome about not saying anything, right? Josh Gad was really good at almost getting her, but she didn't say anything. She didn't hint. She just said, I'm not answering that. And here Ming Na Wen is, right? And she's like, bring me back, even though she's probably in her head, I'm coming back, bitches, right? Like, it's pretty awesome. Phil H, sorry I wasn't able to talk. No problem. I'm still going. All right, Boss Man for sure. Fun times in the fandom. Love when actors play their part well. I couldn't agree more. And like this whole season, we've had great acting. So a lot of people have either loved this episode, give it the credit I think it's due, or they, call it more of a filler. Like it didn't really give us the setup for the finale that we needed. But I truly feel like this episode is probably, out of we're going to get 8. So out of top 8, it's probably higher on the list for me, only because we get to see so much human nature played out here, right? We get to see Mando questioning his beliefs. We see Mayfield show where his questioning started. We get to see the zealot showing you how crazy you can sound sometimes when you don't let other people's opinions inform you, when you're very enthralled and you just, everything else that people negatively are saying about you goes over your head and you're just like, I don't care, this is my cause. We get so much of that in this episode, and we get to really see how much Grogu means to him, and we get the gauntlet thrown. I think this episode was extremely important, and I'll go to say that episode 2 with Frog Lady, though that to me was a little bit more fillery, was also just as impactful at reinforcing his relationship with Grogu. You really get to see, that building of that father-son relationship, which Star Wars, that's all what it's all about, right? And so I really like that, even though we might get filler episodes, that it still doesn't feel like it. It still feels like a very impactful, informative episode. And so I just really loved this episode. Me too. Casting is probably my favorite thing with films. It's why I love GOT, Game of Thrones, so much. Yeah, I miss those days too. I loved, Gina, when you would pick through casting with me, or with all of us on live, and I really, 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 really want to do either a recording or a stream with you and talk about the casting of the prequel series for Game of Thrones. Matt Smith, my doctor, Mr. 11 himself, is going to be playing Daemon Targaryen, and let me just tell you, that man can act like the craziest mother effer and still make you love him, and it's just like, he is amazing. Anyways, and I know you like royalty, so you watched him in The Crown. I'm very sure you did, so it's going to be beautiful. You've given me more respect for this episode because I'm just in it for the Grogu. I mean, Gina, you're awesome, so of course. You have a question for us. What's your question? If someone offered you a role in any film or show you've ever seen or read, what would you choose? Oh my God, mushy face forever. There's a lot. If someone offered me a role in Star Wars, I would take it. I don't even need a role. I will build all the costumes for you. I will get all the coffees for you. If I am involved in any way, sign me up. If someone asked me to be in Doctor Who, again, same thing. Star Trek, Firefly, Buffy, if it ever came back. There's anything I love. If I could be involved with it in any way, sign me up, please. Please, 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 please. I think the number one I probably would really, really love to be in as an actor. initially I want to say Star Wars just because it's really on my mind. But I would really love to be in Harry Potter. I think it's the most realistic for me. And I think if I was in Harry Potter, my objective would be to show a different side of Slytherin. Um, I know I come off as probably more of a Ravenclaw or Gryffindor. I always get sorted in Gryffindor. I always do. But I identify mostly with Slytherin. And it's probably just because of who I perceive myself as. And yes, I'm brave and I'll do what I need to do. And I put my family and my love all first. But those are all really similar things for Slytherin. I think they get a really bad rap because, the Dark Lord was a Slytherin, of course, and all of the stupid pureblooders that are like, pure blood, that's all that matters, me. Like, no. That's all that it needs to die out. But we also have Slughorn. He was not a bad dude. Like, yeah, he collected his students in the sense that if you could offer him something, like, he kept you around, and then once you were not good, but I mean, that's so realistic as people, right? You could swing that and justify that as people. Like, I'm teaching you and you give me good things, cool. But like, once somebody is bad for you, why would you keep them in your life, right? Granted, that's a stretch, right? But I would love to be the cool Slytherin that everybody wants to see, right? And now you can always argue that Harry was supposed to be in Slytherin, but the only reason why Harry was supposed to be in Slytherin was because he ended up being a Horcrux and had Voldemort in him. So of course that part of him is going to want to be in Slytherin, right? But I just would love to, that's what I would do. That's what I would like to do. Just like all Griffin, yes. Let's see. Agreed. They can't all be bad. Oh, I can hear that. Slytherin has its place and gets a raw deal. I'm having a lack of imagination. Oh, Phil H, I know you'll think of something. Gina, that was an amazing question. We should post that in our Facebook group, Close Encounters of a Geek Mind. I think it would be really fun to see people's answers and responses. Suddenly I can't answer my own question. Gina, I see you being in something like Tutors, or even, what is the show with Liv Tyler? Harlots, I think is what it's called. Something historical and accurate, because why would you not want to be in something accurate? Though I love those soapy drama shows, like what was that one that we just talked about? Rain, right? Beautiful costumes, beautiful story for what it is, but not historically accurate in any sense of the world. It is like a historical fan fiction, right? I don't know if I could be a part of that. The controlling, have to be accurate part of me would just go nuts. I could not. I don't think I could. Your Facebook group, put a poll for this question. Definitely. All right. Oh, back popping. All right. So yeah, I think for this next episode, I'm hoping it's going to be longer. Oh, here comes the rattling of the willow. Just 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, just going to quietly try to get water. But I think for this next episode, we are going to possibly get a longer episode, hopefully, because there's a lot to tie in. There's lots of loose ends, which we're pretty sure, Otila and I said it, that it's going to be a cliffhanger episode, right? I think they're going to fight real hard. We're going to come to blows. We still haven't seen the fabled dark saber battle. He was rumored to have broken many a dark saber while trying to get this filmed. We haven't seen it yet, so it's going to be very interesting. All right. Yes, Willow is awesome. She just came to get some water, and she says she loves you guys. Willow mission. Yes. I should have like a really cute Willow being crazy face for when I stop the camera and it goes to like a picture, like my avatar. And then you guys will just know that she's there. How many seasons are we getting? I think 3 to 5. I think it was probably going to initially just be 3. But then with the announcement and probably with all of the um, engagement and love of this series now, I think it's going to be longer. I think we're probably going to get closer to 5. But yes, 3 for sure. And I think most of season 3 is going to be trying to get Grogu back and getting more information on him. So this last episode, like I said, I think it's going to be longer. We're definitely going to get that fight in there. Someone probably is going to die, unfortunately. There's lots of the rumor mill going on that it could be Grogu, that it could be Mando himself, that it could be Boba or Fennec or a myriad of the whole group. I don't know. I don't want anyone to die, but we'll see. I know the internet, those trolls really want Kara to go, but she's staying and she's getting her own show. That's my girl. But with all the other shows, they're gearing up to release maybe 3, 4, or 5 max. May end up accidentally. Yeah, so I think most likely we'll get 5 because everything that they announced on that investor call from Disney, we're not going to see a lot of those for the next few years. Except I think Bad Batch is going to drop within months of the season finale because it ties Clone Wars in, and there's some things with that. So let's finish my theory on what we're going to see in the last episode, and then we'll get into Bad Batch because that's where Willow has been awesome, and I foreshadowed Willow's cool thing. So anyways, I really think that it's just going to be that cliffhanger. They're going to battle. We're going to find out, I think, so opening credits, we're going to see Grogu with the Imperials. We're going to see what they're doing. We might get some flashbacks in his mind of his childhood or when he first became an Imperial prisoner and they first started, mining for his blood and his M counts. So that's what I think we're going to get at the beginning. We'll probably cut to see Mando and the gang, on their way. And then we'll probably, it'll go back and forth. And then I think we'll get our epic battle. It'll come time to the end. He'll almost get Grogu. And then it'll be cut to black. And we'll be on that cliffhanger cue. What the heck's going to happen season 3? And I think in season 3, we're going to get a lot of them trying to get Grogu back. A lot of misses and fails. We'll probably get Bo-Katan back. We'll probably get maybe Ahsoka once or twice. And I really think that's when we'll get to see Sabine because the show is called The Mandalorian. And my theory of the show itself is that we're going to go back to Mandalore. And the Mandalorian is a title. That's what they would call their king or their queen or their ruler is the Mandalorian. And I think that's what the premise of this whole show is. So we're going to get a lot, I think in the next season, we'll get some more Bo-Katan. We'll definitely get Sabine and, we'll go from there and really see, we'll start to get a sense of who the Mandalorian is going to be. I'm really excited for it. What do you guys think? We may end up with some accidental Mando Jedi action. Maybe. I think if we do see it, I'm really hoping that it's not going to be like I love Rey, but we didn't get to see her grow into her powers. She just had powers. Not down with it. I know it's because of the Force dyad, her connection to Kylo. That's what helped that. But I hope we get to see him fumble with it, like it's little things, right? Like something coming to his hand, or he just moves just that little bit faster, jumps that little bit farther. I don't want anything huge yet. I think if we get like a fourth or fifth season, it would be really cool to see establish that in the fourth season, him learning, and then in the fifth season, he comes into his own a little bit. But I just really don't want it to just be like snap your fingers, he has powers, because that's just not gratifying, right? Please make the Mando Grogu from 200 years plus from now. That would be really cool. Maybe that would be like a season 5 thing, or maybe they want it. From what I've heard, rumor mill is that they want to do the whole a couple seasons, so 3 to 5, right, and then end it with a movie, and to really tie it together, give it that really cool cinematic feeling. And it would be really cool if that would be the movie, right? We get to see all of the growth of these two characters. We see the foundation of the relationship. We see that Grogu might possibly be a Mandalorian, right? In the future. And maybe the movie would be that, right? The continuation. That'd be really cool. Darth Grogu from 700 years plus. A lot of people are speculating that he might go dark side. I think he's going to be more like Maul, where he has that Sith calling, but he rejects it, which actually is something that I loved with Clone Wars and Rebels. Is with Ahsoka and Darth Maul, they're almost like two heads of the same coin, right? So Ahsoka is trained her whole life in the Jedi Temple, Jedi teachings, Jedi ways, and she ends up walking away, right? So in essence, she might be a true Jedi that way, but she's still Force sensitive. She's still one with the Force. She still practices and is one with the Force, right? And then we have Darth Maul, who is raised Sith, all of it. He was just Sith from the beginning, right? But he walks away from that. I mean, he kind of gets killed and has his own and gets ditched on a planet and then has to be sewn together with really cool like spider legs, and then ends up getting these really cool regular. But he still walks away from those teachings and that path. He's one with the Force, but he still kind of leans dark, right? So I think that's kind of where we'll get Grogu. He'll be more like Ezra, is where I'm going with this. So Ezra has a pull to the light and a pull to the dark, but he does his own thing. Mostly leans to the light. And I think Grogu, on that other coin, he has pulls to the light and pulls to the dark, and might lean more towards the dark. But I don't really think we're going to get a canon gray. I don't think they're going to make Gray Jedi a canon, though I would love it. Carrot Cake, there's my girl. I was wondering where you was at. Anyways, I don't think that it's going to be true gray. 1 second. All right.
Hi.
So have a good day.
Have a good day.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Okay. I wanted her to say hi to you guys, because she was like chomping at the bits to say hi to you guys. So anyway, ooh, her little face. I love the look she shot at the camera. Listen, this little girl tells me all the time that she has to be on the stage. She's going to be a singer and a performer. And I catch her in her room pretending to do live streams. And she pretends to do interviews with me when I do my notes for the episode breakdowns. She's something else, I swear. Oh, that made me totally lose train of thought. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to necessarily get a Gray Jedi, though I would love it. I think we're just going to have these hints at it. Like, they'll hint at it, but I don't think we're going to get he's a great Jedi and then say that. I don't think we're going to get that, but I think we'll get nods to it. And I think so, like Grogu, though he has pulls to the light and pulls to the dark, he'll lean more maybe a little to the dark side, but he's going to do his own thing. I think that's what we're going to get. So I got caught up messing with my sweaters. I love looking at all of your sweaters. That's my favorite thing. But yeah, so what do you guys think? That's what I'm interested. What do you guys think is going to happen in these next few episodes? It's going to get real interesting, I feel like. For sure. So yeah, I know we're almost an hour and a half into this stream, and it's gotten pretty long, but I think we've covered quite a lot. But now I'm going to talk about a couple of the new series that I'm extremely excited for. So we don't even have to say we're excited for Obi-Wan. Let's be real. We all are going to be there for that one. That doesn't even need to be mentioned on the list. That's like gold star #1, right? That's a duh. I'm going to watch that one, right? We get to see Anakin in there. Hayden Christensen's coming back. Like, I'm so there for that. And then we're getting Bad Batch, which, like I said, I think we're going to get that dropped within months of this season finale. I think they've been working on that a lot longer than they're leading on, and that we might get some episodes. And I think in true Disney Plus fashion, we're probably only going to get an episode at a time, which would buy them some more time to make more episodes. So yeah, definitely excited for that. Now for that Willow theory that I hinted at the beginning, in the Bad Batch trailer, there's a character we see, definitely feminine. We see a helmet with some orange into the slit, and we see some eyes, and we get to see the coat. It is very reminiscent to Miss Fennec Shan and the helmet and coat we see her in. Now, when Willow and I were watching the trailer, she immediately goes, "Mom, that's Fennec. Mom, Fennec's in here. She's in Mandalorian." And I was like, maybe. So we go rewatch the Fennec in her full garb, and I'm like, oh my God, this girl might be onto something. Fennec might be in it, which to me explains all those looks with Boba, because that means she has more Imperial ties than she's letting on. That maybe she was working for the Empire, then did her own thing, and maybe is in their good graces. I'm not sure. You know, we know that Boba saved her life and that she has some cybernetics in her, which are very Imperial looking, to be honest. And I'm like, this girl might be onto something. And then I kid you not, the next day on the internet, everywhere, I'm seeing Fennec Shan might be in this. Was it Fennec we saw? Theories talking about it, like, you know, Josh from from Nerd Vengers is talking about it. And it's just like, whoa, my little 4-year-old noticed something that the whole internet ended up catching on. Like, I wish I could have put a video out there and let her get the credit where it is due, though all of us Star Wars fans are super on point and keen on looking for all of those drops and hints. So I thought it was really cool that she did that. So Bad Batch for sure, I'm really excited to see, because it's going to pick up right. I think we're going to get when the series starts, we're going to get the Order 66, and we're going to see how they dealt with it. I'm sure we'll get 1 or 2 episodes right before, just to kind of set things up. But I think it's going to pick up right where Clone Wars left off. And it'll be interesting to see where they go from there. You know, did they execute the order? Did their chips come out before that? Because they kind of hinted to Rex that might be the thing. That was a pretty huge arc for Clone Wars, was the chips that were going to execute Order 66. So it'll be interesting to see where they go there. Just some of the crazy missions that they're going to go on, see more of the world. It will be amazing. Gotta run, but love you guys. This was so much fun. Thank you, Gina, for staying, and I will message you later, because like I said, I really want to talk Game of Thrones with you for our peeps. I think it'll be so much fun. Have a good night. And then the next one I'm really excited about is Acolyte, because though it was rumored to be female-centric before, if it is cool, if it's not, awesome, but it's about the dark side. And as you guys know, the Slither in me is so excited about the dark side. I mean, Darth Vader's my favorite character, like lots of things, lots of really cool things. And I'm going to give you guys a little hint. I'll post about it on Patreon, but one of my favorite people in the whole world has agreed to either live stream or record something about Acolyte when we get farther in and know more about it. So I'm dropping that little nugget in there. Some of you guys might guess, you know, there's quite a few friends that we put in there. Phil H, you'll get to know, because as soon as the stream's over, I'm posting it on Patreon. But I got to give some kind of cool nuggets for my Patreon followers before other people. But I'm going to talk to somebody really awesome that we all really know and love, that has maybe live streamed once or twice with Gina. There's a hint. So yeah, I'm really excited for Acolyte. I think this one is supposed to happen either 100 years or more before Phantom Menace. So I'm really excited to see. There's lots of possibilities for there, and where we can go. But I mean, dark side, why not, right? It's just as important as the light side. Because without it, you can't have balance, right? So it's going to be really excited. I think we might get to be in like maybe Darth Bane time, and we might get to know more about his apprentice, and we might get to learn more about how the Rule of Two was indoctrinated. Oh, excuse me. Specifically because in the sequel trilogy in Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine tells us that the dyad was the goal, right? Between a master and an apprentice. The dyad was the ultimate goal. And if that couldn't happen, then the Rule of Two was followed. So I think Acolyte, we might get to see the last true dyad, and we will get to see where the Rule of Two started. I'm going to write that down because that was a really cool thing that literally just popped out of my mouth. And it would be really cool for my my video I'm going to make about it. So I can't spell Acolyte, but anyway. We see it. Luckily, this has playback capabilities, so I can really get to see what I said, because it was pretty cool. Yep, Rule of Two sounds good for the show, and if they use the Legends characters, that would be interesting. I really think we're going to get more of Legends, just for the simple fact that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been really pulling from Legends in this. They've done a really good alcoholic. Oh, that's funny. Hi, Mandalorian. How's it going? Yeah, so that's what I think we'll get for Acolyte, and I'm really excited for that one. And then we're gonna get our Ahsoka Tano show, and I am beyond excited. You know, the one content video I did get out was about Ahsoka. I've spent so much time with this character. When she premiered, we were the same age. Like, she was a really important character to me. You know, though when she first started, I didn't watch Clone Wars as much. I'm going to admit to that. I didn't. My little brother did, though, and I think it was very important for him. And when I did come back to her, I came back to her when Willow was born, because she really liked watching Clone Wars. Like, it was the only show I could put on that would relax her. She wouldn't cry, and she'd just fall asleep. So that became background noise. And we probably watched that show like at least 6 or 7 times through. And then we moved here, and I rewatched it then. Like, I rewatched that show a lot. Then we got season 7. You know, she's the character that Willow always wants to be. Like, every single time I ask her if she wants to dress up, she always wants to be Ahsoka. I'm beyond excited. I think the Ahsoka show, we will get the search for Ezra Bridger will be in that show. I think that's where we will get the most of Bo-Katan, the most of Sabine Wren, and they will go on their journey. I think The Mandalorian, and there's been rumors for this, and Dave Filoni himself said it could be before the end of Rebels, where Sabine and Ahsoka meet up to go find Ezra. And I think this is just coming to me. Maybe that's what we get at the end of this, or in an episode in season 3, is we get to see Ahsoka again, and then she's like, I have to find Sabine, and then maybe it pans on Sabine, and that's where they go. I don't know. Maybe that's what we get in another episode, and then we get the search for Ezra Bridger. I think a lot of people are speculating that in this final episode we might get Ezra, and he's the Jedi that was talking to Grogu, which would make a lot of sense because of just who we have, right? It would be really cool to see Luke. A lot of people want it to be Luke, but a lot of people have been pretty sure that it's going to be Ezra, which I would be totally cool to see. I don't think we would see him until the very end, and I think that might be part of the cliffhanger. But anywho, so Ahsoka, I'm extremely excited for. Phil H, yes, I agree. Sorry, Elle, I gotta make dinner. It was fun though, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the stream. No problems. We're gearing up to end. I'm almost done, so we won't miss too much. Enjoy dinner, and we'll see you later. So just 1 second. Laying down the Mom Smackdown. We're almost there. Even Willow's getting antsy. Ugh. Almost to 2 hours, or an hour and a half. We're doing good. So, and then we have the Cara Dune one. I think that's the hold on just a second. Let me just get the titles pulled up so then we can go through this more quickly and have the correct names. Okay, so Rangers of the New Republic. I definitely think that's going to be the Cara Dune episode, and I'm very excited for that. Let's see. Rogue Squadron is going to be a movie. Very excited to see that as well. I think that's going to be in the time period of The Mandalorian, and I think we will get to see some of Luke's flying. So not the timeline of The Mandalorian. I apologize. Before that, I think that this is going to be in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and we'll get to see Luke's flying skills. I think that's what this is going to be about. Him really coming into his own. And then let's see. Then we have the Lando one, which is supposed to be a fan film, or not a fan film, an animated show. And they are said to get, oh my God, Donald Glover to reprise his role as Mando. So it'll be some young things, and I'll be really excited. Lol, mom, mute my every work meeting, right? For sure. So with Lando, I think that could be interesting. We'll get to see him young, and we'll get to see some of the other shows. And then we have a droid story, which would be exciting. I don't know if it's going to go over droids we already know, or if it's going to go over ones we already love. I think they've already said that it will definitely have C-3PO and R2-D2, but I don't know if it's going to be like them remembering and other droids are in there, or what they're going to really focus on. But that one's going to be exciting. And then they have, just blow this picture up for a second. So if you guys are wondering, I am looking at, I'll post it on Geek Chat 1. What all or not Geek Chat 1. Oh my God, my brain. Oh, I've been thinking about it. Anyways, on Close Encounters, I'll post it on there. We're going to have the, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. um, Luna's character, anyways. We're gonna have a show about him, and then I'm really excited for Amanda Nelson or Broken Birds, because we're gonna get Visions, and it's gonna be Star Wars and anime is like her big thing, and I'm really, just a second. Oh, I need to get an icon for that. I'm so sorry, guys. So we're almost done. Yeah, for Visions. It's Star Wars and anime, which I think could be really exciting and really interesting. And they've pulled a lot from that. So, Star Wars has always been Japanese influence, and anime is like a huge Japanese thing. So it would be really cool to see what they do there. So that's all the Star Wars shows coming. But for Lucasfilms, we're also getting a Willow show, which I'm really excited for, because I mean, Willow. She loves the movie, and she's really excited that there's going to be a show with her name on it. And then we will have that one, an Indiana Jones show. So that's all going to be excited. It's all to come. Phil H, have a great night. I will be following you out. So if you guys could like this video, subscribe to my channel, Close Encounters of a Geek Mind, if you're not subscribed already. Bring a friend. I really love growing the channel and getting to talk to you guys. More content to be. As my ticker on the bottom of the screen shows, if you would love to join me over on Patreon, Close Encounters of a Geek Mind. I let all of you guys, all my Patreons, get to know my announcements first of what's gonna come, what's on the stream, what's on my mind, where I want the channel to go. They get an input on everything that I release, what they want to see, and any content that I actually post, they get to see it first. So there's perks there. For the holiday seasons, I'm going to be personally making a gift for all of my Patreons, and sending it to them. I'm very excited for that. And it's just going to be the best way to help me grow. The more Patreons I get, the more of a possibility it will be that I get to focus, like truly focus on this channel and to make better content for you guys. And we can just really start, theorizing and making videos and making a real, true, community here, which leads me to my Facebook page. Close Encounters of a Geek Mind is on Facebook. It is a private group, but everybody is welcome. We talk about all things Star Wars, all things nerdy. Basically, it is a subculture group. So if you love it and you are passionate, I want to hear about it. I want to talk about it. I want to enjoy it with you. So join me over there, and we will continue the conversation. I'm really excited to see you guys next Wednesday, where we talk about the finale and we get to really just theorize what season 3 is going to be like. So I will see you guys then. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys later on the next video or the next, live stream. We'll see. But I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.